Hi everyone, my name is Orolua Abdullahi and you are welcome to my YouTube channel. So if this is your first time, you definitely want to hit the subscribe button like right now. So to addressing the elephant in the room, why I left law. Now before we talk about it properly, I want to give a background to why I studied law in the first place. So if you know much about the arts department in Nigeria specifically, you know that we don't have a lot of professional courses, when it comes to the art department. So law is one of the few professional courses that we have out there. And to say that while I was also younger, I used to talk a lot. I was very bold. I would literally stand up in my church back then and read the Bible when other young children will not read the Bible. Like I said, I used to talk a lot. I was very bold and I enjoyed reading books. So I think that my parents saw this and they felt like, okay, the best career option for this girl would be to study law. And I remember that I had read a particular novel and there was a lawyer in the novel, right? And I just felt like, okay, this is something that I could do. But please note that before I made this particular decision, there was a time that I wanted to study international relations, right? I was in French club. I liked French. I was doing French at the time and I really liked it. I was even the president of my French club. I had a French dictionary where I was always studying it every time. And I remember telling my mom that I wanted to study international relations and she had told me that I was going to end up as a school teacher. And nobody wants to end up as a school teacher, right? Of course, some people want to end up as a school teacher, but as at the time, I didn't want to end up as a school teacher. So yeah, so that's mostly why I studied law at the time. I just knew that I was bold and I knew that, okay, I also like to stand up for people in the society. So now let's go to why I finally left law in the first place. So I would say that I kind of always knew that there were more career options that I could pursue with the kind of interests that I had growing up. I always knew that, okay, while law was great, while law was interesting for me, I kind of always knew that I won't fit in here. Because I remember that my first lecture ever, my first law lecture ever in Obafemi Awolowo University. If anybody that went to my school is watching this video, Dr. Fayoko, I don't know if he's a professor now. I remember that when he was teaching us the 7 Ds of the legal profession, it felt very interesting to me. But at the same time, it felt vague. Even after that time, I would realize that I would study for my exams, I would study for my tests, I would even listen to my lecturers in class. But maybe in few months later, if you come and ask me, oh, what did you really study, I wouldn't be able to remember. But yeah, I kind of just knew that, okay, there was something more exciting. There were more exciting career paths that I wanted to pursue in the future. This will lead me to the next point, which is I always wanted something that was media related, something that had more character. And so how you guys will know is that at some point I wanted to be a model. Of course, we know that if I had gone towards that career path, it would have been an epic fail. I wanted to be a model. I wanted to be a newscaster. I wanted to be an ambassador, like I mentioned earlier. I wanted to be a doctor, but that one, it doesn't relate, right? But I just knew that I always wanted things that were more expressive, more emotive, things that you could, see your passion could be seen. You could just do stuff, not strictly by the books. And it didn't help that we just learned tons and tons of laws and then tons and tons of exceptions to those laws, and then you just find out that, okay, some of these laws don't actually work in real life. And I think that what sealed my decision at the time that I knew that I wasn't going to be studying law was when I went to law school, that I knew that I wasn't going to be practicing, at least for the meantime, right? Was when I went to law school. And then they had taught us then that, oh, in law, one of the places that you cannot get arrested, if you enter into the Federal High Court, you cannot get arrested. It was during COVID, right? And then we were home during the break. I think that break really changed a lot for me, not necessarily, but it just kind of sealed my decision that had been building up for a long time. So during that break, they had told us that, oh, Showore had been arrested inside the Federal High Court. He had run into the Federal High Court and he was arrested. So I don't want to say it just put me in the middle of an existential crisis. It was just weird because I'm like, okay, these are the things that we are learning in law school that we have to, cram and stuff, right? But yeah, mostly I would say that all of these decisions, they kind of just further pushed, my decision. But at the end of the day, I knew that I always wanted something that had more character. I knew that I always wanted to do something that was in the media. So after, I got called to bar, I served for a little bit. I started to create content. I knew that it kind of interested me because I'd done a little bit of that in uni, in my church, and in some units that I had served in. So I kind of knew that I needed a word for like, I needed a word to encapsulate like, what it is that I really wanted to do. I knew that it was related to, something content, and I knew that I started to pray about it. I spoke to my friend about it, and I remember that particular day as I was walking back from work, I was going to board a bus back home. I just heard that word, brand communications, right, in my spirit. So immediately I got home, I just checked up on it. Then I started to take courses from there. Then I stayed at my then law firm for like 3 months more. And one day I just told them that, okay, that I would be resigning at the end of the month. And since then I've been doing what I'm doing, right? So do I have any regrets? I would say I don't have any regrets, right? I don't have any regrets because one, I think that it was best that I made that decision at the time. I can imagine if I was just making the decision not to, practice law now, I would have like I would have to, I would need a lot of time to adjust because I'm even still adjusting to this new career path that I've chosen. So I would need a lot of time to adjust. So that's one of the things that I don't even regret doing. So secondly, I would say that I don't regret it because at times in uni that, a friend will walk up to me and tell me that I don't strike him as somebody that would study law at the end of the day. And I remember that even as that's somebody that would practice law, and I remember that even as at that time, there was kind of like, I kind of believed him in my mind, but I felt angry at the same time because I'm like, what do you mean by that? Do you mean I'm not smart enough and stuff? And it just reinforces the fact that there are times that that, okay, this career path there's nothing wrong with it. It's great, it's amazing. There are people that are excelling at it, but it's not for me. And it's okay if you can tell yourself, at least it's not for me at the moment, right? I could maybe wake up in 5 years, but I know that I have my certificate. So it's okay, right? So I don't have any regrets, in that aspect, knowing that I did what I wanted to do, not because anybody wanted me to do it, not because, just I hope that you get the drift. My advice to anybody would be, if you're studying law, if you want to go ahead to go to law school, get called to, but amazing. It even helps your brand, it helps your self-respect, and whatever it is that you want to do, people know that you went to law school, you got called to bar, right? But then don't sacrifice your dreams at the altar of wanting to be accepted, wanting to please people, wanting to ensure that you prove people wrong. You have nothing to prove, right? So thank you so much for watching this video. Please like this video, drop your comments down below, and share this video with your friends if you enjoyed watching this. Bye, see you some other time. Mwah.